I am Shubhabrata Saha, Chief Executive Officer, Farm Division, Mahindra and Mahindra Limited. It's a great honor and privilege to be here with all of you. I would like to begin by thanking the ET Auto team for inviting me to participate in this forum and for bringing together stakeholders from the tractor and farm machinery industry, agri businesses, as well as academic and research organizations to deliberate on the subject of farm mechanization. Through this forum, I'm very pleased to deliver the keynote address representing the tractor and farm machinery industry and Mahindra, which is the world's largest tractor manufacturer by volume and by far the leader in India in terms of volume and share for over 3 decades. I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes allocated for this presentation in 3 buckets. The first segment will cover key and emerging trends in the farm equipment space. The second will cover challenges and opportunities seen during this COVID period. And the third segment is on the ways in which Mahindra farm equipment sector is working to create value in the near term to the medium term. Before I jump to the key trends, let's understand some of the sticky challenges in Indian agriculture. I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes allocated for this presentation in 3 buckets. The first will cover key and emerging trends in the farm equipment space. The second will cover about challenges and opportunities seen during the COVID period. And the third bucket is on the ways in which Mahindra farm equipment sector is creating business value in the near to the medium term. Before I jump to the key trends, let's understand the context of sticky challenges in Indian agriculture. India is expected to overtake China and become the world's most populous nation by the end of this decade, implying that agriculture will play a critical role in ensuring food security. However, in order to feed its expanding population, India will have to address some of the sticky challenges that have plagued it for decades in its domain of agriculture. I'll give you some examples. Poor farming practices, low yield varieties, and fragmented farms result in 35 to 50% lower yields vis-a-vis global benchmarks. Overall level of mechanization is less than 50% as compared to 90% in developed economies. The low levels of mechanization in the country, that is 1.5 HP per hectare, compares to 8 to 10 HP per hectare in developed economies and 2 to 4 HP per hectare in developing countries. And the declining farm labor offers potential for steady long-term growth with further support from government schemes. Indian farmers realize only about 8 to 10% of their product's final value compared to upwards of 30% in developed markets. Nearly 60% of India's small and marginal farmers still do not have access to institutional credit. Will these challenges give rise to certain mega trends? I personally believe so. With these challenges in mind, there are 4 key mega trends emerging with a thematic play of technology and digital as key components. I will go through each of the trends of mechanization that I'm sharing on the slide, digitalization, platformization, and precision farming in greater details in my subsequent slides. Let me first talk about the trend of the gathering pace of agri mechanization. The Indian tractor industry is estimated to be about 39,000 crore, about US $5.2 billion in size, which is roughly about 10% of the global industry, estimated at about 55 billion. And compared to that, the Indian farm machinery, other than tractors industry, is only about 7,000 crore or about $1 billion in size, and hence estimated to be around only 1% of the global industry at about $100 billion in case of agri machinery. This implies that India is tractorized to some extent. However, is not mechanized. The overall level of mechanization of Indian farms stands at 40% as compared to 80% plus rates in some of the major economies. For example, in the US, it is about 97%, Western Europe at about 95%, and China at about 48%. To illustrate the point, the penetration of combined harvesters in India today is equal to tractor penetration way back in 1971. And for a specialized product like rice transplanter, the penetration today is at the tractor penetration of 1960. Mechanization is going to improve farm incomes through lowering of cost and improvement of yields. Given that climate change is inevitable and is becoming erratic, the window of time available for farmer to do operations such as planting, harvesting, spraying, etc., is becoming shorter. In a shorter window, it is not possible for all farmers in an area to complete the jobs through labor alone. Hence, machines would be required for faster operations. The farm machinery industry in India has up to now been largely focused on low technology implements, mainly manufactured by unorganized workshops in rural markets. The industry needs to grow rapidly, like the tractor industry, and farmers need to have access to the latest farm machinery. This will drive manufacturing employment, technology development in India, farm incomes, and exports as well. Cutting edge connectivity technologies are already transforming agriculture. Farmer driven tractors equipped with smart technologies are already working in large fields for large farmers around the world using sensor networks, AI driven monitors, onboard controllers, and advanced embedded technologies to drastically increase efficiency and improve productivity in the developed economies. India is largely defined by small and marginal landholder farmers, with farm sizes of less than 2 hectares and accounting for over 86% of the land holdings. Hence, smart technologies have to be made affordable and accessible to cause significant impact in the Indian farming ecosystem. Sophisticated ECUs linked by communications networks provide continuous monitoring and precise control on equipment today. Farmers now have the ability to remotely collect and manage information from their field equipment by using telematics technology at a global level. India is yet to begin at any degree of significance in some of these areas. Tractors will undergo technological changes in the future to comply with the emission norms. Technology includes fuel injection systems, modified air management systems, and exhaust after treatment systems, including DOC, DPF, SCR technologies, etc. This would ensure that farm mechanization continues to be sustainable in the future. However, one must remember that the dealer network and employees will have to be future ready to be able to adapt to these requirements that these technologies will bring in. Also, farmers may have to pay a higher price in terms of technologies that are going to get embedded in order to conform to the norms. Let's walk over to the next trend. And this trend is about digital acceleration in rural India. All indicators in the slide point to accelerated adoption of digital in rural India. These can be primarily attributed to affordable smartphones, cheaper data plans, and government's thrust on digital India. Some of the critical shifts that we have observed are, in the past, information gathering was primarily through interactions with dealers as well as the farmer's circle of influence. Today, this is increasingly happening online to start with. While urban users type in search words, many in rural navigate the web using voice search on their mobile phones. To give an example, there is a voice search button on geophones. The third one, there is a clear preference for visual content, videos and images over text. There is delight associated with ability to read and respond back online in local language. YouTube influencers are emerging as an alternative to local sources of knowledge and advice. Clearly, the three V's, which is voice, video, and vernacular, along with the increased digital thrust, is going to reduce information asymmetry in the sector as we go ahead. Let me slip into the next trend, trend number 3, which is the rise of precision farming in India. In India, with agriculture increasingly becoming technology intensive, next generation farming tech solutions such as precision agriculture and digital technologies are expected to gain significant traction. Factors that are now working in favor of this are remote sensing of farm data reaching mass market prices. The cost of industrial IoT sensors has been falling steadily, dropping by almost 50% in the last 10 years and is expected to keep falling further. The cost of labor has increased by about 20 to 50% in the past few years in the major cereal producing states. Inputs are also becoming increasingly expensive. The future of precision technologies in India is built on two components: automation of farm activities with smart machines, and remote sensing of detailed farm parameters that enable these machines to act with precision to create desired outcomes. Hyperspectral imagery analytics helps in interpreting imagery to give farmers information about the state of the fields and crops. Field video cameras, sensors, and drones are used to collect crop information in real time. Power of imagery analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning will help in generating commercial benefits for the small landholder farmer. Hence, we expect that precision farming will gather pace and momentum. Let's move on now to the final trend, which is about platformization and ecosystem of startups. The future lies in ecosystems which create value for all stakeholders. Excellent collaboration opportunities exist in the ag ecosystem, where there is so much of heterogeneity and complexity along the farm value chain. With agriculture becoming increasingly technology intensive, collaboration with startups will bring the necessary speed and innovation, which combined with wisdom of traditional firms can provide powerful solutions for the farm community. Product-centric firms are continuously striving to utilize platform-centric models to compete in the digital age. Platforms facilitate interaction between producers and other businesses along value chains and value networks, besides boosting performance of the farm as a unit. Layering up the platform with intelligent algorithms, including AI ML, will facilitate improved productivity, digitization of payments, monitoring of inventory, etc., among many of the other possibilities. Having looked at my first section of key and emerging trends in the farm mechanization space, let me now move over to the next segment of my presentation, where I'll briefly cover the challenges and opportunities seen by this sector during the COVID period. Let me now move to the next segment of my presentation, where I will briefly cover the challenges and opportunities seen by this sector during the COVID period. Let me outline some of the events that impacted the tractor industry in these months of COVID. The agriculture space has seen a lot of action over the last 6 months, and perhaps has been the biggest silver lining during this pandemic. In fact, the tractor industry saw an unprecedented growth of 75% in the month of August. Hence, it's good to recap some of the major events that have happened. At a strategic level, the center unleashed three crucial, long pending reforms. One, the amendment of the Essential Commodities Act. Two, the APMC reforms. And three, the Farmers' Agreement on Price Assurance through contract farming to reshape the architecture of farmer market ties in getting better income. These reforms, we believe, will have a positive impact in the medium to the long term. At a tactical level, the government has taken a lot of initiative, which includes the spaces of financial as well as digital. Financial initiatives like the early deployment of PM Kisan, hiking of Narega wages, purchasing at MSP, and the revised interest rate of 4% for repayment of Kisan credit card helped in improving sentiments. Digital initiatives like the Kisan Rath mobile app, which facilitates in transportation, and Swamitva Yojana, the central government scheme which will provide an integrated property validation solution for rural India, have facilitated in the availability of loans and insurance. Bountiful rainfall from June to August period, increase in sowing area under Kharif crop, Robust procurement mechanisms across states, and timely cash flows into the hands of the farmer have led to buoyant sentiments in the rural hinterland. Massive dislocation of labor took place during this period, which saw the states of UP, Bihar, Odisha, MP, CG, etc., receiving inward migrants relying primarily on Narega wages to gain employment. The initial days of lockdown saw reverse migration, mobility, and workplace restrictions leading to operational disruptions, especially in manufacturing, logistics, and supply chain. However, government's quick response of declaring agriculture as an essential service meant that the tractor industry could recover faster than some of the other industry. In spite of sporadic lockdowns across states, positive rural sentiment has significantly outweighed the disruptive ones, resulting in a whopping tractor industry growth of about 30% between the months of May and August. Having seen some of these challenges, let me slip into how did this industry convert some of these challenges into opportunities? The reverse migration that took place, causing labor to move out of the states of Punjab, Haryana, Maharashtra, etc., to states that supplied the labor, which is UP, West Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, etc., resulted in labor inequilibrium across states, wherein on one side you had labor surplus states and on the other side you had labor bereft states. On account of this, labor bereft states like Punjab have been consistently dependent on labor from outside, saw a sudden surge of tractor buying, rice transplanters, and now even superseders. Channel checks suggest that notwithstanding the return of labor, the current dislocation of labor market expedited the movement towards labor-saving techniques in agriculture, such as the use of the direct seeding of rice or DSR technologies. The machinery industry is slated to see an inflection point in the future when application of specific farm machinery will be able to impact farm productivity and farmers' lives. Industry will focus on crop-specific machines, such as a trend in terms of the movement towards machines used in potato farming, for example. Rice transplanters are still very limited in this country. We believe India will become a sweet spot for farm machinery growth. Although the demand drivers were robust, supply constraints meant that there was a significant demand-supply mismatch with the worry of losing retail sales. Consumer behavior also changed during this period with deferment of expenditure on marriage, house renovation, durables, etc., and a focus went on savings and utility purchase. Leveraging these supply constraints, dealers across the country who may have seen stressed working capital conditions in the past improved their financial health through higher inventory turns and improved receivables. Tractor industry follows a high-touch sales model given that it's a livelihood purchase item for their customers. Mobility and workplace restriction across dealerships meant a challenge to engage customers. However, this meant an opportunity for faster digital adoption, not only within the companies, but also across the entire value chain. Customer service calls were often attended through WhatsApp video and leads generated through digital mediums. One of the key reasons of the industry doing well until now is the new ways of working adopted by manufacturers through increased digital adoption, amongst others. Having spoken about two aspects, which is about the key and emerging trends in the farm mechanization space, and the second about challenges and opportunities in these COVID times. Let me now turn my attention to talk a little bit about Mahindra. And in this section, I'm going to talk briefly about Mahindra farm equipment sector and how it is creating value both in the near term during this COVID period as also in the medium term going forward. So let me begin. What have we done during this period affected by the pandemic? On the manufacturing front, an agile rapid action force was formed for the start of plants on receiving the green flag from local authorities. We ensured all plant employees undergo medical, safety training, including special COVID awareness sessions from the plant heads right from the very first day and carried on further on each of the days of operation. Training was imparted to people to comply with government guidelines of social distancing, procedures to ensure that people stick to wearing masks, face shields, etc. With all these measures, a quick ramp up of our plants were achieved with all the plants running close to full capacity. On the customer service front, we did resolution of critical complaints of tractors and farm machinery through video calling on WhatsApp video calls and do it yourself or DIY videos. Social media was used extensively for communicating these messages and for reaching out to consumers. On the marketing front, we did the category first digital launch of one of our key products. Digital campaigns connecting to Atmanirbhar sentiment saw more than 7 million views on YouTube and Facebook combined. We also started the industry first online booking of tractors through our e-commerce portal, the M2All platform, which created good online buzz and outcomes for the business. All these factors meant customers remain invested in us thanks to our innovative ways of engagement. It's not that within the company, a lot of these things were done. Our partners and stakeholders, particularly the dealers, also did some very interesting things. Dealers on their own started their method of reaching customers for service and inquiries through offers and hotline numbers, including push notifications on customer WhatsApp and Facebook groups. Over 5,000 customers were contacted with bookings and deliveries through Microsoft Teams with online payment facility of Paytm and Google Pay. Dealers were not only focused on new ways of working, but were also looking at ways to give back to society. And some of these initiatives were in the area of food distribution to migrants returning back, mask and sanitizer distribution, working with local agencies such as Rotary Club, Lions Club, and many others. Sanitization drives by deploying Mahindra tractors across the country, sensitizing the masses through van campaigns in rural pockets and providing essentials to the needy. Having covered this aspect, let me also cover about what is Mahindra thinking in the medium term. Let me first talk about the future of farming and the Mahindra way around it. I'll give a small sneak peek of some of the things that we are working on to create long-term value for farmers and help them rise. Let me first talk about the Mahindra's precision farming portfolio. Given that farmers are becoming increasingly digital and agriculture becoming increasingly technology intensive, Mahindra has been steadily working on building its precision farming portfolio, including smart fertilizer solutions to reduce fertilizer consumption, increase of yields, and improvement of soil health based on data collected using sensors on implements. Smart sprayers, which optimize pesticide application, do targeted spraying, and prevent significant yield losses through crop images captured through a machine vision camera mounted on a tractor. Smart harvesting solution, which optimizes cost and ensures better sugar recovery during harvesting operations through sugarcane data, which is captured using RGB or hyperspectral cameras on drone or using satellite imagery. These are some of the broad areas that I'm sharing with you, and there could be immense possibilities in a domain that is likely to grow by leaps and bounds even in this country, which would be useful for small and medium landholder farmers in India. These are technologies that are growing in developed economies with endowed farmers having significantly larger farms. Let me now talk a little bit about farming as a service. Farming as a service, or FAS, is a new delivery model to help farmers to improve income per acre. We are branding our farming as a service initiative as Krish-E. Krish-E will help farmers increase their income per acre through agronomy services, mechanization services, and digitization services. These services will be crop specific, integrated, and offered across the crop cycle. Agronomy services help farmers improve their agronomic practices, both through advice as well as on-farm deployment. Mechanization services offer a range of farm equipment on rental basis. Digitization services offer a range of apps on the phone, as well as high-tech precision farming solutions. We've launched an app to help sugarcane farmers improve their income per acre by giving them a dynamic crop calendar, which gives them customized and farm specific advice every day on what actions they need to take. We've launched an app called Krish E Nidan, where farmers can take a photo of the diseased crop and identify what disease it is in by using artificial intelligence. I'm coming towards the end of my presentation, and before I sign off, let me turn my attention and talk about the group philosophy that guides each one of us in Mahindra and Mahindra. And this is called Mahindra Rise. Rise is our DNA. There are three brand pillars to Rise: accepting no limits, alternative thinking, and driving positive change. We have discussed a lot about in the earlier sections about how, as a group, we accept no limits and have showcased multiple things that have been done through alternative thinking. It's now time to give back to those who give or provide food on our plate and create impactful positive change to the communities that we serve. I'm proud to say that in Mahindra, we launched a program in 2017 for empowering women farmers and christened it Prerna. The initiative consists of direct access to knowledge of improved agricultural practices, introduction of farm tools and technology for reducing farm drudgery, particularly for women, and increasing productivity with the ultimate objective of improvement of income. We started a journey in more than 40 villages across multiple districts of Odisha, positively impacting the lives of over 2,000 women farmers. The initiative was further expanded to the states of MP, Maharashtra, and Karnataka to reach over 6,000 women farmers and empower 600 champion farmers who became evangelists for change in agriculture at a hyperlocal level. With this, I come to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much.